In this video, we are doing a dash cam vlogging tour around East Central Kitsap. So that's parts of East Bremerton, parts of Tracyton, parts of Illahee, kind of around those areas. So if you're familiar, you can follow along with the map, so stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Cassandra Lopez with the Living in Bremerton channel. If you're new to the channel, you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe. The channel is all about living in Bremerton. So whether you're coming here for the first time or maybe you've been here for a while, be sure to subscribe and tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. And you can contact me directly. This is my cell phone and my email. Be sure to reach out and let me know how I can support your relocation to Bremerton. So we're just passing through the intersection at Buckland Hill and Myrie, headed south on Tracyton Boulevard. So if you're following along on a Google Maps or something like that, to the right, which would be to the west, is Dyes Inlet. So the water is pretty close. Like all of these homes on the right-hand side are like high bank waterfront. Some of them go down a couple of layers before it gets to the water, but they should all have lovely views, western facing anyway. The last time I did these vlogging tours was in the wintertime, so a few of those videos there was snow on the ground and everything like that. So I wanted to redo them and give you a perspective of summertime. For example, a bicycle rider on the shoulder is not uncommon at all. And if you watched a previous video I did about bike lanes, you'll know that there are not a whole lot of dedicated bike lanes in Bremerton. And so a lot of times we have to share the road with bicycle riders, which on a road like Tracyton Boulevard and even farther down where it becomes Tracyton Beach Road and there's like zero shoulder, it can get a little sketchy. So just watch out for bike riders. That's the moral of the story. Tracyton's pretty unique in the sense that it'll have these enormous lots, like these 5-acre lots, but they're all waterfront. So people will have, you know, from the road down to the water is their property, but it's zoned for equestrian. You can have like horses on there and livestock and all kinds of stuff, but it's waterfront, which is, you don't see those two things combined very often. New construction going on the left there. There are a lot of new construction neighborhoods going on in Bremerton and in Kitsap County wide. Check out another video I did about where all the new construction communities are. There's quite a few, and they vary in their different levels of phase, like where they are in their phases, how many units they have left, if they're almost done being built out, their pricing. A lot of them are, I think one of the newest developments over in the Illahee area is starting in the high 4s, so it's super affordable. And of course, there's other ones that go up to, you know, 1.5 for a new construction. Those are like enormous houses, 3,000 square feet on an acre. Tracyton Pub on the right. It's kind of a little iconic landmark in Tracyton. So through that intersection, Tracyton Boulevard becomes Rydell. So now we're just headed into East Bremerton. We're heading east if you are following. Crossing over Pine Road here. So it starts to become a little more cleared out, a little more built out as we approach Highway 303, which is the next light up here, also called Warren Avenue, Wheaton Way, or Wagga Way, depending on what part of 303 you're on. We're going to go ahead and turn here. So as you can see, a much more commercial and industrial through here. Large shopping center, restaurants all the way throughout. Lots of shopping options if you really need anything, from car parts to restaurants to large grocery stores to home improvement. There's a big Lowe's on the right. We're headed back north. So if you're looking on Google Maps, we are approaching McWilliams. And if we were to stay straight on 303, we would take it all the way into Silverdale. We're going to take a right here on McWilliams. There are quite a few preserved areas throughout Kitsap County. On the right-hand side here, we have a golf course that's Kitsap Country Club. Or I'm sorry, it's Rolling Hills. Kitsap is over by Chico. This is Rolling Hills on the right-hand side. Back to the preserve. So there's Illahee Preserve, which is very nearby here. So it's a dedicated forest area that will, never be developed. And then there's Illahee State Park, which is all the way on the Illahee shore. So you can boat up there and camp up there and all kinds of cool stuff. And that's like right in Bremerton, right in your backyard. You could literally drive 10 minutes and be at a campsite. And we're actually headed down towards Illahee, so you'll kind of be able to see. There's the water. So this is Illahee, which is if you're in Illahee, you would have a Bremerton address, but it's just like the little township of Illahee. And then that waterway on the right-hand side is called Port Orchard Bay. The landmass on the other side of the bay is Bainbridge Island. So Bainbridge Island is the eastern part of Kitsap County, but you have to drive up through Poulsbo and then back down, so it's kind of a big loop. There's a ferry at the very bottom of Bainbridge Island that takes you over to Seattle. That's in Winslow. So Illahee, we're going north. So Illahee will turn into Brownsville. Brownsville is one of the only communities where Bremerton and Poulsbo meet. Typically, the north end of Bremerton, you would start heading into Silverdale, and then north of Silverdale is Poulsbo. But there's a little part of Poulsbo that comes down on the east side of Silverdale where Bremerton and Poulsbo meet. And that's kind of in the Brownsville community. A lot of shoreline driving in this video. So we started over in Tracyton along Dyes Inlet. Now we're in Illahee on Port Orchard Bay, which Port Orchard is South Kitsap. It's south of here, so I don't know why they just decided to change it up and call everything Port Orchard. Actually, historically, a very large portion of Bremerton used to be Port Orchard. This was, 100 years ago or whatever. A lot of West Bremerton actually used to be the city of Port Orchard until it was reestablished. Coming up in the harbor here, Brownsville has a fantastic marina. Up here on the right, you can see little houseboats. You can actually live down here. So you pull your boat into the boat garage and then you walk upstairs and there's your little flat. It's pretty charming. Quite a simplistic lifestyle. There's a little deli over here that you would never know it, but they have, live music and they have events and they have summertime things going on. Out of a deli, right? Who would have thought? So we're on Brownsville Highway now. As you can see, East Central Kitsap, geographically pretty large, but not very urban in setting. So, you know, you would have a more woodsy, rustic, rural feel than you would, say, in downtown Bremerton, for example. That's down by the ferry where, you know, we have a lot of, you know, 6-story condo buildings and a lot of apartment buildings down there. It's very dense. Whereas East Central Kitsap is very, well, it's more spread out. So I guess the exception to that would be new construction communities, because they all get variances for their lot sizes and setbacks and things. And so they're zoned high density just in that individual community, which means that, you know, smaller lot sizes, the houses are 2 to 3 stories. So the builder builds up instead of out, which, you know, that way they can build more units. And so it's kind of tight in there. It can get a little dense. So we're getting off on the Central Valley off ramp, heading back over the freeway. We're heading south on Central Valley. This is Buckland Hill intersection. A lot of these neighborhoods in East Central Kitsap are 70s and 80s construction. So the lot size are about 1/4 acre. That's kind of the average, which is plenty of yard. My house has 1/4 acre and I almost feel like it's too much yard sometimes. Like, I'm too busy to take care of it. So I end up having my landscaper do it. But it's kind of one of those things where, you know, if you want property and you're like, oh, 1/4 acre is too small. Well, you know, you have to know what 1/4 acre looks like before, you know. And a lot of people are looking for larger lots. So there are, you know, a few of those around. If you're looking for larger properties, you're going to be looking out in the more distant portions of Seebeck. And some western properties over in Silverdale have really large lots. Central Valley is one of the main north-south arterials through East Central Kitsap. It runs parallel to Highway 303. Intersection right here is Rydell. We approached this from the right previously, so we're turning back towards Tracyton. Now we're on Tracyton Boulevard. We're going to come around the corner here and there'll be the Tracyton pub on the left-hand side. Right there. And then, you know, a couple businesses through here, dentist, auto repair, there's a post office right there. So you can have a P.O. box in Tracyton if you prefer. So if you're coming from an area that doesn't have a whole lot of trees, there's a couple of things you're going to want to keep in mind, which is getting up on your roof and keeping it clean, depending on, of course, your particular property, what kind of trees are around, and how close they are to the house. Just turned right onto Stampede Boulevard. So you're going to have to get up on your roof a couple times a year. At least that's how frequent my roof requires it. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Just keep that in mind. Also, some of these properties that are maybe, you know, that were built like in the 70s, a lot of the trees on their property have grown quite a ways since the house was built. And so some of these properties are going to be really, really shady. So if you like gardening or if you want a nice lawn, that may not be doable depending on the property. Just may not get enough sunlight. Also, those trees require a ton of nutrients, and so if you try to grow anything else, the trees are just going to dominate and prevent anything else from being able to grow. So we're on Nels Nelson now. Stampede turns into Nels Nelson back there at that intersection. That was the fairgrounds intersection. So Kitsap County Fair and Stampede this year, 2022. It is August 24th through the 28th, I believe. I live kind of in this area, and so I have friends who call me every year and ask if they can come park at my house and walk to the fair because parking down there is just a total nightmare. So if you want to go to the fair and avoid the parking, there's options. You could Uber it or whatever, or make friends with somebody who lives nearby and park at their house. This is Buckland Hill. We are headed west. Cresting this hill, you can typically see mountains straight ahead, but today it's a little bit cloudy. If you like that video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Be sure to reach out if there's anything I can do to support your relocation. Bye for now.